Pisces, this is your astrology for June 2016. Thank you for joining me. It's really nice to be with you. Now, at the beginning of the month, you will feel kind of pushed and pulled in lots of different directions, okay? What you'll notice is that when it comes to your career, you feel like maybe things aren't progressing the way you want them to. You may feel like you're overthinking things and it feels stifled, it feels labored. At the same time, you're going to have big ideas, big notions of what you can achieve at work and how you see yourself. And on top of that, your biggest focus and your biggest joy and desire is going to be communicating with family members and really chattering to people you've known for a long, long time, okay? So you're really going to enjoy being around those nearest and dearest to you. You're going to enjoy that kind of domestic vibration a lot. Also, the biggest luck factor in your life at the moment is other people, is relationships, and talking things through with other people to get to a plan of action and then putting that in place, okay? So that is a lot of energy and you'll be feeling all of that at the same time. The reason for that is there's a grand cross in the sky. It formed on the 26th of May and it'll stay in place until the 27th to 28th of June. It kind of fizzles out then. And a grand cross is four squares combining to create this big square, okay? It creates friction, it creates energy, it's lots of different things working up against each other and bumping up against each other to create this back and forth. So the good thing in June is that you're not going to run out of energy. You may not feel comfortable all the time, but you certainly will have the energy and the drive to get a lot of things done. Now, on the 2nd of June, there's a grand trine that forms in your chart. Again, a grand trine is a major aspect pattern. Like in the tarot, you've got the major arcana, which are the big, heavy energies, and then you've got the minor arcana, which is kind of trivial things. These are major aspect patterns, and they mean that it's big energy that you have to deal with, okay? So this grand trine, it connects a couple of things in your chart that means that you're very emotionally resilient and that you're able to roll with the punches and not get overly frustrated, but instead you're able to continually kind of put the effort in and to keep moving forward and to continually keep applying yourself, okay? Also, what you're going to be focused on is, that said, you know, something that is going to be a focus for you is, okay, work kind of isn't working for me at the moment. This is what I want to achieve in my romantic life. So there's almost this energy about you this month, Pisces, which is kind of like grasping for the things that you do want to achieve and bringing those into your life. Now, on the 3rd of June, Taurus, the moon is in Taurus and it's in your 3rd house of communication, and it's right on top of your midheaven, which is also in Taurus. The midheaven is the angle that has to do with work, okay? So what you're going to understand the most and the things that you're going to be most interested in are practical, tangible things, you know, activities or things that are spoken or written or the body or things that are very, very simple and grounded. It's really important for you to ground yourself on the 3rd of June because with this grand cross in place, things can potentially get a little bit confusing, overwhelming, and even there may be some mental fog up in the atmosphere, okay? So ground yourself, keep things very, very simple, and if things do get a little bit too much, just walk out in nature barefoot and just kind of allow yourself to connect with the very simplest pleasure in life. On the 4th, the moon then goes over that midheaven, it moves into Gemini in your 4th house, and again, what you're going to almost retreat into and what you're going to feel most at ease with is communicating with people in your inner circle. And the good thing about this is that by talking to people, you can actually resolve some of these problems and talk through things which seem to be blocking you in your work. Saturn is in Sagittarius in your 10th house, and it's not that you're being kind of tortured by not being able to make progress in your working life. What is happening though is that Saturn is urging you and is kind of forcing you to really scrutinize things and to look at them clearly. And what that does is it delays things, it delays progress, but it also allows you to really avoid some of the pitfalls that you could experience in your career if you didn't overthink things at the moment. So that's good, and that's why it's important to ground yourself and to think about things really, really clearly. On the 5th of June, the new moon occurs, and the new moon is when the moon is black and it pulls energy in. So it pulls in this really positive, childlike, curious energy of Gemini. It does that in your 4th house, and it really means that you have this real willingness and this real ability to share your innermost self, okay? So choose wisely who you do that with, but ultimately I think it's going to be a positive move, because by sharing your thoughts and sharing kind of your own vulnerabilities and that kind of thing is going to be what sparks off other people sharing themselves, okay? So, I mean, I think we've all been in a situation where, you know, all you've had to do is just make that initial contact and say one word, and a whole conversation has resulted from that just because you started. But that other person may not have known how to start the conversation themselves, and you needed to kind of provide that initial spark to get things going. And that's really what your gift and talent is here in June, Pisces, that you're really able to get things moving when it comes to connections in families, also in your relationships in general with colleagues and friends and other people. But you're doing the work, and by doing that you can transform your relationships, and you can really receive some of the answers that you need when it comes to your working life. So can you see that there's a lot going on here? On the 7th of June, the moon goes into Cancer, and this is nice because now what you start focusing on is your intimate personal relationships, and you become very, very generous in that sense. So if you're in a relationship, you're really going to be very generous in terms of taking care of someone. So if you have a Pisces partner, obviously you're Pisces, you're going to be very popular because you have a really selfless streak. You really embody that selflessness around the 6th of June, to some extent the 7th as well, but you're going to be very, very nurturing and caring. On the 9th of June, you've got a yod in your chart, and a yod is also known as the finger of God. If there is an opportunity for you today, Pisces, to take the spotlight in some sort of working situation and to really showcase your skills and your gifts and your talents, by working at that, you can really transform some of your disappointments in work and really begin to realize some of your aspirations and hopes and dreams when it comes to work. But the key factor to unlock all of that potential is to really put yourself in the limelight, to openly display your skills, your talents, and not to be embarrassed about that, but to really enjoy the opportunity. That can really lead to a lot of doors opening up for you. So the 9th is 10 out of 10 when it comes to career and really actually stepping up to the next level and realizing what you want to achieve there. Also on the 9th of June, Venus goes into 19 degrees in your 4th house, and it starts to conjunct your sun, which is also at 19 degrees. So your sun is your identity. In Gemini, it's very curious, it's very childlike, and it's searching for truth. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, in Gemini is at her most inquisitive, communicative. She loves any kind of information, and when these two meld together, it means you're a loving, positive force, but also that your main priority and your main focus is to communicate and to share. So again, that bodes very well for bonding with people, even people in your family you may not always have got on with or have been able to speak to. By talking to them, by opening things up, and by taking charge of that, you can really bring things closer between you and others. On the 11th and 12th of June, the moon goes into Virgo, and it joins your rising sign, your Jupiter, and your North Node, all in Virgo in your 7th house. So you feel very comfortable in your relationships. You're very able to understand what's going on, get to the truth of the matter, and really make very good decisions about your relationships. This person has my best interest at heart, this is a real friend, or this isn't a real friend. If the two of us go into business together, or if we decide to go on a trip together, this is how it's going to go. You're going to have an almost intuitive, psychic knowing of what's going to happen if you take practical action with one of these friends. Okay? So that understanding is there because there's a lot of connection between the Virgo-Pisces axis and you are almost psychic when it comes to potential practical actions. And the more you ground yourself this month, the more you're going to understand, and it's almost like you can intuitively predict the future through your feelings, and that is a real gift that you've got here, especially around the 11th and 12th of June. On the 13th, Mercury goes into Gemini, and that joins the rest of this really positive energy in your fourth, and really communication. Family is 10 out of 10 for you this month. You're really going to be able to understand people and listen and also communicate back, and there's a perfect connection there. So really, I think if you can just spend time with family this month, I think you'd be over the moon. I think you'd really enjoy that and you'd get a lot from it. On the 14th, the moon goes into Libra in your 8th, and it's at 17 degrees. So Libra is a cardinal air sign, and it urges you to take charge of things, especially with your own ideas. This is a good day to implement some new ideas in your working life, especially if you're an employee, to make some suggestions, to suggest something that would make the work more effective, or to suggest some sort of a change. I think it will be received positively. I mean, even though that seems unlikely, if you work at Subway, and if you're behind the counter, if you find a way of saving the business money, it may seem unlikely, but if it's a genuine saving, then you can bet your bottom dollar that that company will listen to you and put that in place. So there is an opportunity for you to shine by taking charge of one of your thoughts, inspirations, ideas, and putting it into practice, but communicating it with people in charge. On the 16th of June, the Lyrids Meteor Shower is at its peak. It started on the 10th of June and it continues until the 21st. And whenever there's a meteor shower in astrology, it means it's like a cleansing, okay? What this one is about is kind of this ability to connect with people and to treat them as family. That's really the knack that you've got, is that you can really get information out of other people, that you can share information, and that you can really bond and become very close with people, strangers, potential romantic partners, and you can really bond with them very well. You can really get people to open up this month. So during that meteor shower, go outside and look at some of those shooting stars. For each shooting star that you see, kind of make a wish about what you'd like to happen with one of your relationships. And really just kind of put that out there, and then engage with that person and see what you get in reality. There is this kind of magical exchange of ideas and information between you and other people. And you're like a detective almost this month. On the 17th, the moon is in Scorpio up on top of your chart, and it joins your Mars, which is also in Scorpio up there. So both of those are in the 9th house. I really don't feel that you're going to have a great desire or need to travel. I think you're going to want to stay put. I think you want to kind of nest a little bit to engage with the domestic vibration, that side of things. And I think don't torture yourself. If you don't want to go anywhere, don't force yourself to. I think you're going to be very happy staying in your own comfortable environment. The Virgo Pisces axis is featuring largely this month anyway, but it gets really strong. And Virgo is the physical, the earthy part of this spiritual axis. Pisces is the real unmanifest spiritual side of things. And again, 18th is a great day to intuitively understand what's going to happen in some of your relationships, and you can almost play the tape forward and kind of intuitively sense whether it's going to go well or not. So, we're all intuitive. Some of us are more open to it and more interested in it. Other people really aren't, okay? But for Pisces, which is an intuitive spiritual sign anyway, you're usually much more aligned with that kind of thing anyway. And that's why in this month, for you particularly, you're really going to sense these outcomes of practical considerations with other people, colleagues, friends, family members, all of those things. On the 18th, Venus goes into Cancer, And now you stop being so focused on family and you become much more interested in the romantic side of things, okay? So the goddess of love in Cancer, she's very giving, she's very nurturing, she's very caring. Again, this quality of you being a very good boyfriend, girlfriend is going to be there. If you're in a relationship and you have the ability to take care of someone, great. If you're single and you're looking for someone, just be careful now with Venus going into Cancer, because you're likely to take on a project. And by project, I mean taking someone on board who's like got issues and who doesn't want to resolve those issues and wants someone to take care of them and take care of the issues for them. There are millions of people like that around who really just don't want to do very much and who want someone who loves them and takes care of them. And unfortunately, there are people out there who take advantage of that at times. So if you're single and you now have that Venus in Cancer, you can attract those kind of people to you. It also trines your Black Moon Lilith, so it's a bit of a red flag, so just be careful around that. On the 20th, the full moon occurs. The full moon is in Sagittarius, it's in your 10th house of career, and now that blocked feeling, that feeling of I'm not getting anywhere, that is blown out of the water by this big, beautiful full moon. And finally you feel the energy and the push to move forward with your career, and it's like the doubts are gone and the path opens and you can move forward. Okay, so think back on the first 20 days of June and really think about the things that you considered and the things that you were throwing out and the things that you decided to go ahead with. Because if those things come up again in future, you've decided. You've avoided pitfalls here at the beginning of June, and things have been delayed for a very good reason. So now move forward with confidence, but don't forget those lessons. It would be a shame if you just discarded them. It's also the pagan festival of the summer solstice. It's the beginning of this period of the rulership of light. It's when nature is at her loveliest. It's really in the northern hemisphere when everything is light, the nights are long, and it's a real time of optimism and enthusiasm and fire in the world. So you're kind of one of the signs that really gets involved with that, because now you embody that Sagittarius energy with the full moon and you move forward and you really take that inner fire and you spread it out into the world. So the second half of the month now, much more optimistic about the future, about your career, about the practical things than the first half, which was very kind of inward looking and domestic and kind of keeping things small and simple and within. On the 21st, the sun goes into Cancer, again in your 5th house. Your identity is now focused on really nurturing and taking care of people. If you've got children, awesome, that's great. If you're in a relationship, wonderful, fantastic. For the singletons out there, again, careful that you don't take a project on board. On the 23rd and 24th of June, Mars begins to quincunx Uranus. And Uranus is in Aries in your 2nd house. You may get some unique and special ideas on how to make money now independently, and it may feel like those ideas are impossible. Okay, I think part of the lesson with this Saturn was, okay, now I can't move forward. I've got all of these things that I want to move forward on and I can't. And now you're getting great ideas, but it feels like, again, I don't have the drive to actually put them into practice. Make a note of these ideas. They are good, valid ideas. Mars is in retrograde. When it comes out of retrograde, if you have things to take action on, that'll be great. Like, for instance, if I make videos on YouTube, so sometimes I feel really inspired and I list them down, and then when I don't feel so inspired and I've got nothing to do, then I go back to that list and I put the action in. So that's the kind of thing that's going on here on the 23rd and 24th. On the 25th, Mercury starts to conjunct your midheaven in your 4th, and this is a kind of throwback to the family orientation that you had at the beginning of the month. And again, you can work to resolve some of your ideas by talking them over with family members. That's really going to help you, and that's going to get things moving forward. On the 27th of June, the moon is in Aries at 2 degrees in your 2nd house. So you now shift gears a bit and you start feeling more pushed and more at ease with moving ideas forward and taking practical action, especially when it comes to finance and making money. The moon doesn't stay there very long, so there's a 3-day gap, 27th, 28th, 29th, when you can make use of that. So if you do need to get something out there, some product launched, something like that, use the end of the month to do that. It'll feel a lot easier. On the 29th, there's a grand trine in water. This is the best day romantically for you. This is a really good time when you can meet someone who's a good potential match. And also, if you're in a relationship already and if you have children, then this is also a wonderful day to have a wonderful family day where people can be open about their feelings and connect and feel good and all of those nice things. And then finally, on the 30th of June, Mercury joins the Sun and Venus in your 5th house. And now you start to communicate in a nurturing, healing way. So again, family, children, good. Single and new people, red flag. Watch out for that you don't take on someone who's going to be like a long-term project, or someone who kind of expects you to do all the work for them. So that's what I get for you in June. I hope that's useful. If you've got any, if you want me to look at your circumstances in particular, either love or work or romance, then please get in touch with me for a private reading. The website is gregoryscott.com. Just click on the readings tab and you can order your reading there. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I've also started doing a weekly astrology forecast for all the signs on Facebook, so check that out. It's facebook.com/GregoryScott444. I'll speak to you next month for the Pisces forecast, but I'm also here on the channel for the daily tarot reading and all the other information I do on the tarot and astrology. So have a look at some of those videos. There's some good stuff there, I think. So have a great month, and I'll speak to you soon.